New provisions have been included under Part 3.5.2 for overflow of eave gutters. These are not applicable in Victoria, as the provisions for roof drainage are dealt with under the Plumbing Regulation 2006, which reference AS 3500 Part 3. For those interested in viewing the provisions, refer to Part 3.5.2 or go to the ABCB website. Dwellings over or under non-appurtenant garages. A number of changes have taken place in 3.7.1 in order to permit what are often called surveillance units, observation units, or Fonzie flats. These are popular in new estates and are even encouraged by planning requirements separate to your house, that you have your garage, but above your garage is a separate dwelling, which is normally rented out. Often there is a single garage for the surveillance unit located alongside the main garage, like what you see on the right of the sketch. These have been going on for some years. However, Volume 2 has always been silent on what you do when you have a house above someone else's garage. And as long as the lower level remains a private garage, as defined in Section 1 of the dwelling above, is a Class 1A, but you end up with a non-appurtenant garage below it. So there are now some new provisions. The basis for the provisions are that you have a fire separation around the non-appurtenant garage. This fire separation for the wall is 60 minutes in any wall between the appurtenant and non-appurtenant garages, and 30 minutes at the ceiling or 60-minute resistance to the incipient spread of fire. Another option for the ceiling is a fire protective covering, as per the existing defined term, if the separating floor is combustible or metal. Or separation at the floor. The floor and ceiling system incorporates a ceiling which has 1. A resistance to the incipient spread of fire to the space above itself of not less than 60 minutes, or 2. Have an FRL not less than 30-30-30 when tested from the underside, or 3. Have a fire protected covering on the underside of the floor, including the beams incorporated in it, if the floor is combustible or of metal. If you're an experienced user of Volume 2, you will recall that 3.7.1 already contains fire separation requirements for non-appurtenant garages that are next to a Class 1A. The changes that are outlined here are found throughout 3.7.1, so that now the BCA also cover what is required when the non-appurtenant garages is below the dwelling or even above it. Some improvements have been made to Part 3.7.2, smoke alarms. These complement the surveillance unit provisions, but also apply in a regular Class 1A with an appurtenant Class 10A garage on a different level. Smoke alarms are required on the story containing bedrooms, that's 3.7.2.3a, and at least one is required on any other story not containing bedrooms, that's 3.7.2.3b. 2.3. This includes your living level, but this also includes the garage level. There have been some confusion about whether the garage level requires a smoke detector where the entire level is Class 10A. It could be said that you don't need to install it because 3.7.2.3 applies to a Class 1A building. So it has now been clarified by adjusting the application clause. As you can see, for the purposes of Part 3.7.2, when you see Class 1, this includes a Class 10A garage, which is above or below a Class 1 building. So you need to put a smoke alarm in the garage where the garage is an entire story above or below a Class 1. However, a smoke alarm can be set off by car exhaust, which is often found in a garage. So, 3.7.2.2 has been adjusted to allow the use of an alarm suitable for AS 1670 Part 1 in the garage when there are normal smoke alarms installed elsewhere within the building. This allows the use of a heat alarm. Note that the alarms still need to be mains powered, and alarms within the same occupancy need to be interconnected.